Hello and welcome back. I am jeffgrantMEDIA, and travel season, it is rapidly approaching. Hell, it might already be here for some of you, so it is about time we do a head-to-head comparison between the Black Voyager Zephyr Pro and the Airback original travel bags. Now, I personally have a work trip coming up in the next month or so this is certainly a topical topic for me, if you will. And because I used to do a lot of travel, I mean, pre-kids and pre-pandemic, I traveled quite a bit with my wife, both internationally, domestically, weekend trips, long trips. We did a lot of it, and I always tried to do a one-bag travel. Sometimes I was more successful than others. Had something like these been around back then, it would have made it much easier for me, but we're trying to get back in that trend. While we do take some longer weekend trips here or there, we're trying to expand our horizons, if you will, and show our daughter there's more than just northeastern Pennsylvania out there and what we can drive to within an hour or two. So we're going to go through each of these bags, do a head-to-head comparison. We're also going to load them up with what I will be taking on my business trip. It should be about a week trip down to Mississippi. And I will also throw in a few extras that I would be taking had I've been taking a personal trip with the family. Now, please keep in mind what I will be packing in these suitcases are my core items and would be coming with me regardless of the trip I am taking. Now, while we have the bags orientated in this full frontal, if you will, we can see one of the two main aesthetic differences of each of the bags. The Zephyr Pro, it is a smooth front bag, very gray man looking, where the Airback actually has this little bump here. I believe this is for the admin panel, but it has an extra little lip here. So it honestly, it could be something that could snag on you, because if you're using this as a carry-on bag, little things like this I find could actually get caught in these overhead compartments, or if you're sliding under the seat. So I like the aesthetic choice of the smooth front on the Zephyr Pro. Also, because this is a travel bag, I like the smooth front because I think it's just one less thing to get snagged on. Now, the other thing is, we take the Zephyr Pro, we spin it to the left side, we can see we have our, pop it, you can see a little bit better, our TSA lock, where if you take the Airback, we spin it to the right side, there, we can see we have our TSA lock. So the TSA lock, I think it's the same lock, to be honest with you, and it's for the back tech compartment, so you can lock your laptop and your tablet in there, but it is orientated on the opposite sides of each of the bag, which, again, more of an aesthetic. There's not much of a difference to that, and both these locks you can set, and you just kind of orientate it, the zipper there, you snap them in, and you can lock your zipper in, set your combo, and the TSA has a key, then you can just pop them to let them loose. One of the other things that I would like to point out right away is that AquaGuard zippers on the Zephyr Pro, and just a regular, I don't even know if they're YKK, to be honest with you. I didn't look at them, but they're, yeah, these are just unbranded, probably just generic zippers. Now, one bag travel, if I'm traveling, especially with a vacuum seal bag, AquaGuard zippers are where I want to be, because it's going to protect my bag that much better. Water's not going to come through, so I would much prefer the AquaGuard zippers over just a plain Jane, not even YKK, there's a knockoff random zipper, so I don't even know the quality of these zippers, but the YKK AquaGuards are nice. And I will say, one thing that I personally used to not be a fan of AquaGuard zippers because they would get stuck, get hung up on, these actually function perfectly. And you can see we have 1, 2, 3, 4 corners to get around with these AquaGuard zippers, and this is a two-way zip, and it will easily get around each of the corners of this bag. They're not getting hung up at all. So while in the past I was personally not a big fan of AquaGuard zippers, they are currently working perfectly. They have vastly improved these things, and these are pretty much smooth as butter, going around every single bend of the bag, and the external compression as well. It will go around all of the bends, no problem, and rezip, no problems. And we'll see that as we go through the bag and load it up and whatnot. So we will see that they actually function, but that's something I did want to point out because that's kind of a big deal to me. If you're unaware, I used to be a huge bag nerd, kind of still am, I just don't cover them as much as I used to, and I would talk trash on AquaGuard zippers all the time, but now AquaGuard are great, and on something like this, I think it is a necessity over a open coil zipper, especially a no-name unbranded zipper. I have no idea of the quality or construction of these. Now, if it was at least a YKK zipper, it would be nice knowing that it's going to be a durable zipper, but it has no branding on it, so I have no idea what the zipper at all is on the Airback. Now, another thing that I want to take a look at is something that I talk about quite a bit when I talk about bags, and that'll be the grab handle. Here we have the black Voyage Zephyr Pro, and here we have the Airback Original. And if you take a look at these, they do seem to be about the same width. Maybe the Airback is a little bit wider, but the Airback, it feels like it's just like a piece of Haplon strapping, something like that. It's very thin, it's a rubbery feeling, so it'll give you a good grip, but it's very thin and there's no padding. Where the Zephyr Pro is a, I don't know what the material is offhand. It feels like it's some sort of nylon for sure, but it is a nice padded strap. Now it's pretty thick too. You got some decent thickness to the foam, but it's got a good squish to it. So when you're handling these and you have weight in these bags, the Zephyr Pro is going to be much nicer to hold and to carry in the hand, as opposed to this unpadded piece of rubber that's strapping over. Now both of them do have, if we orientate them opposite, they both have a briefcase mode as well, so you can carry both sideways. But again, we have a nicely covered padded handle on the Zephyr Pro and just a piece of Haplon strapping on the Airback Original. So put some weight in the bag. The Zephyr Pro is going to be a lot more comfortable to carry over the Airback Original. Now let's do a breakdown of these admin pockets because they are vastly different. Again, Zephyr Pro, Airback Original. Let's slide the Airback out of the way so we can get a better view. So if we want to swing this, we do have, again, AquaGuard zippers, and we can see they actually function perfectly. Now, once we go into this main admin pocket, we have so much orientation in here. This is, I would say, the best admin panel I've ever seen. So if we go to the front of the lid, we have two very stretchy mesh liner pockets with a dump area in between. We have a zipper pocket here that we can throw anything that we don't want to get away from us there. Then we have the back side of that dump pocket. Now it does connect underneath, so you may put something in the front and it may kind of slide around. So it is connected underneath. But then we have three nice, it's got some stretch to it, mesh little liner pockets. And then we also have this very nicely padded, it's got a fleece front and back. This would probably be where, you know, throw your cell phone or whatnot in there. But then we have a fidlock key clip as well, so you can throw your keys in there, and the fidlock magnet lock will put that back in there. And if you're using this for your cell phone, there is enough length on this key leash that you can actually go over the fleece line. So if you have your phone in there and you don't want to scratch up your phone with your keys, you can go over that. There's enough length on that key leash to go in there, and you could still utilize the key leash. So this is actually quite a bit of organization in here. And for something for travel, you know, I'm throwing a lot of different things in here, or even something like snacks for the kid, throw a couple things in there. I can have my snacks, my phone, my boarding passes, everything separated in a quick, easy to access panel. Now let's check out the Airback Original. Same basic concept right on the front there, and that's where we actually, that's not even the admin panel. I'm just noticing now the admin panel stops here. So this extra little bump is purely for aesthetic reasons, and there's actually some sort of banding, or maybe it's because it's folded over, but it feels like there's something in there, like something a little bit more rigid, like possibly a piece of this Haplon strapping in here just to do this. So the admin panel actually stops before you get to that fold, so it's not even this full fold, so you don't even have all of this for your admin panel. But if we go in here, we have a nice mesh on the front half, or a nice fleece on the front side, but we have a fleece dump pocket area that I don't think is any bigger than we had on the Zephyr Pro. We have a tab of some sort. I don't know why that tab is there. We've got a key leash that has a push release, so it's not a fidlock, so it's actually a plastic buckle there. And then we have one zipper mesh pocket that is, that's a pretty cheap, flimsy mesh. It's kind of, there's no stretch to it. It feels very plasticky, so you're not going to be able to fit a lot in there. So we have a very minimal admin pocket here, and we do have a fleece lining on the front, so if you can throw your phone in here, orientate the screen to the front half. But we also don't have a separation for the keys, so you'd probably want to stick your keys inside that mesh pocket. And I don't know what this little tab would be for. Is it It's not like you don't need it to hold on to it. I guess if I take the key tab out, you don't need it to hold on to zipper this. I guess maybe you could throw a little carabiner on there, or if you don't want to use their key clip they give you, you can clip your keys to that. But yeah, that seems, it's not a bad thing to have it there, but it's just something that I have no idea why it's there. Now, starting with the Zephyr Pro here, we can see we have our 4 compression straps on either side that we can use to, cinch this bag down and tighten it up, really help to compress it once we have it loaded up. But to load it, we're going to go ahead and pop loose all 4 those compression straps. Then we have our basically clamshell zipper opening, which you saw all of our AquaGuard zippers went nicely. Open that up. Inside we see our vacuum sealed bag. But then on the other side, we have our lid organization. We can see 3 nicely sized zipper pockets, and I like the mesh on this. Now this mesh is stretchy and it feels nice to the skin. It feels like cloth. It doesn't feel like plastic. And these are a pretty decent size. Sometimes I prefer to have 2 zipper pockets in the lid of a bag because you usually get a very, very narrow one. Now we have 2 good sized ones and one that's a little bit smaller, but I think this has enough space that you can actually use this for something as opposed to trying to find that one thing that'll fit in a tiny narrow pocket. But the thing we don't really see is we actually have, where's the zipper? I lost the zipper. We have a 4th pocket here that actually takes up all of the space in the front. So we can see here, if you can kind of see that, we have our admin pocket, but this pocket goes all the way up and all the way down. And we do have our 3-dimensional space here from the access we have from the front of the lid. So we actually can pack out the front of this bag quite a bit, and that's a nice hidden pocket too. You don't even notice it, so you can put your organization in here, and then you can pack a couple more of your odds and ends up in that front. Now if you want to flip the bag around, again we have our vacuum seal. Now the one thing you want to make sure with these is that you have a good seal right here. So we can see we have a complete seal, there's no gap. Now it's going to be hard, but you can see it's kind of like a key lock. If you go to zip it, oh, I went too far. Sometimes you'll see you might get this tiny little gap here. Now you make sure that you get that zipper all the way closed, because if this has any gap to it, your vacuum seal is not going to work. You're going to have a gap in it. So you want to make sure this is closed all the way. Now, one thing also to keep in mind here is the accent. Look at the zipper color. It's orange and the accents are orange. Keep this in mind for the Zephyr Pro, because once we get to the Airback, that's going to change. Now, to unzip it, you're going to want to use these D-rings. You're going to want to get a good grip because it sticks. It's hard. It's got to be an airtight zipper. So once you pack this out, you actually can suck the air out of it and vacuum seal it in. So this is a very tight zipper. There is a D-ring on either side, and you want to grip that and pull it. And again, make sure you can close that all the way. And the fact that this is an orange zipper makes it really easy to tell if you have a black gap right there. Now for the Airback Original, same thing. 4 compression straps, 2 per side. And then we pop these loose. And the one thing I'll say I'm noticing right now that the Airback actually has, like, it feels like a rubber coated latch, and I like the way that the Airback latches feel. So that's kind of cool. I like that. So pop those all loose there, but you kind of need 2 hands to pull them apart, because even though they feel good in the hand, the rubber coating is actually throughout both the male and female end, so they don't just pop loose. You need 2 hands to pull them apart, so you can't just one hand snap them. So that's something to take note of. I like the way they feel, but they don't function as easily. So again, we'll unzip that, and then we pop it open. We can see the insides of our bag, black zipper. But then if we want to flip this over to look at the front organization, we could, ooh, this also feels, again, plasticky. I don't like the extra materials they're using. This doesn't feel good. It feels like a stiff plastic, but we have, yeah, it's like a weird, like honeycomb, but it feels like a plastic, and yeah, I don't like the way that feels. It's loud too. Can you hear that? It's quite loud. And then we have a secondary U-zipper pocket here, which, if we unzip that, this does go all the way up and through. And we do have a little hang tag here. So this is fully utilized is the front lid of the bag, but you have a much smaller access because we only have this one horseshoe zipper. And the piping, actually, right here, the piping is getting caught because the piping is really thick right here on the corners. They probably could have cut this back a little bit more. This piping is getting caught. That time it zipped okay, but so we only have one zipper pocket and then the access to our lid, which again, it is three-dimensional though, so I should point that out as well. We do have some of that three-dimensional space. It doesn't feel like it's as much as the Zephyr Pro, so the Airback doesn't have as much on the front end to let this expand outward, so most of what you put is going to expand into the bag, but we have much less organization. We have one zipper pocket as opposed to three, and then a much smaller access to get to that front lid space, and it just feels meh. I don't like the way it feels. It just feels like a rubbery plastic kind of feel to it. Now if we want to flip this back over, again, we're going to have an airtight zipper. We have our same D-rings, same zipper style, so you want to grip it good and pull it. It feels substantial, like it's going to hold. It's going to hold the air. So the same thing now, you want to grip from the bottom and pull up. But you'll notice it is a black zipper, and you can clearly see this is fully zipped, but because this is a black zipper as opposed to the orange zipper, you don't have that, that at a glance, if you will. You can't see that little black at the top of the key. Now, while we have the Airback in front of the camera, we can go ahead and see we do have the expansion zipper. It works just like most luggage. It's going to go all the way around, and it's going to allow us to accordion style expand the bag out a little bit more. And when we do so, we can once again pull a tab, pull that open. You can see we have a lot of space in here to fully fill out the bag, zip it closed, close it, zip it, cinch it down. So we do have that expandable space, but this only expands out to be 47 liters. So we have less space in the Airbag than we have in the Zephyr Pro, because again, same concept, zippers on the same side. AquaGuard zippers though, again, because we do have a nylon accordion here, expand that out, not getting careful to not get caught on the internal tag. So we have our accordion there, and now this will expand out to 65 liters. And we have an AquaGuard zipper here because you can see we have like a ripstop nylon in here. So you want to make sure that the water doesn't come through this zipper either, because this ripstop nylon is not going to be as water repellent. But once we do that, again, you see we have all of this space to, again, fully pack this bag out. Then we can load it up, vacuum seal it, close it, zipper it back down, use our cinch pockets, and then really squish these things down. But again, I want to make note, this orange zipper is great because you can see if you don't have, it's going to be hard to just get it to that little bit. If you have that little bit showing there, even from the camera without zooming in, you could probably see that there is a little gap there. So you can see clearly with the orange zipper that your bag isn't completely zipped, in which case your vacuum seal will not work. Now, while we have the Zephyr Pro on the table, we're going to go ahead and unzip and go into our tech area here. Now we can see just by a quick peel back, we have a lot of organization in here. We have a orange high-vis interior, so you can see everything. So across the front of the bag here, we actually have two big liner pockets and then two pencil slots in the middle. We have a built-in cord for a USB bank. Now, if we peel this back, which is going to be really hard to see, we actually have a liner pocket a little bit further down and then some space in the middle. And then we have a tablet sleeve that is padded front and back with two elastic stays, so you can put the corners of your tablet through that so your tablet's not going to bounce around. And then we have our laptop sleeve, again with two elastic stays. And this is a nice high-vis orange interior, so you can see everything that's in there. And then this cable is also built in to our exterior power supply. So we pop that open, and we have a USB-C and a USB plug in there. And you can power this simply by plugging in your own battery bank. So you just plug this end into your own battery bank, and then you can utilize this for anything you need, charging phones, charging your pump, using your pump to vacuum seal the bag. So this is a nice flush mount too. I think they both have the same setup. It's a nice flush mount. I really like this. I've never seen this until I got these two travel bags. They have this flush mount. Every time I've ever seen a USB, it's kind of been like this. It would stick up at an angle and it'd be big and bulky, but this, it blends in. If you didn't know it was there, you wouldn't know it was there. And again, we also have our AquaGuard zipper that fully zippers both ways. There's a two-way zipper. So AquaGuard zippers are going to keep your tech safe and dry, and they function nicely. Now for the Airback Original, again, we have a two-way zipper, so we'll show that now before I forget, so we can go either side with it, but our TSA lock is on the opposite side, so I had them on that side. And if we pull it open, we can see a very, very similar setup, although we do not have the high-vis interior. And I would say, as far as their alternative materials go, this is nylon. It feels pretty similar to the Zephyr Pro from Black Voyager. It doesn't feel as nice in the hand. It's a little sticky, if you will, but we have the same organization. We have two larger liner pockets on the sides and two pen pencils in the middle. And then this is going to be harder to see because it is gray, but we have that same flap pocket down there with a little bit of gap inside. Now we have a padded tablet and laptop sleeve. Now, the tablet sleeve feels like it's not padded nearly as much as the Zephyr Pro, but the laptop sleeve feels about the same. And we have the same elastic stays both in tablet and laptop sleeves, so you tuck the corners underneath these so your tablet and laptop won't bounce around. And we also have another, this one is tied, so it's not as loose. It's got a zip tie on it or something, but we have the USB plug for your battery bank, which you'll stick in there. And again, that same flush mount plug where if we pop it open, if we can get it open, we have again a USB and a USB-C, so you can power all of your devices right there. And again, we have that nice flush mount, which I really like. These flush mount looks with these USBs. It blends in because it's a black bag. You can't even see it's there. It blends in nicely to the bag. Now, the zippers work fine, but again, not YKK, not branded, have no idea the brand of it, and they're not AquaGuard, so you're out in the rain, water will come through these zippers and get onto your tech, and that's never a good thing. Now let's talk about the materials used. Now the Black Voyager Zephyr Pro uses a 1680 DWR coated ballistic nylon, where the Airback Original uses a recycled, I think a 900D face recycled nylon that is PU coated. Now to the touch, they do feel kind of similar. I will say, if I switch hands just to make sure, yeah, the Black Voyager, it does feel a little bit smoother to the touch, and I say Cordura is one of my preferred materials. Cordura has always been a preferred material of mine, so if I was going to choose one or the other based on materials alone, I would end up choosing the Black Voyager Zephyr Pro, just because I love Cordura. It's been a material that has never let me down in a backpack, where recycled nylon, while it does feel good, and I like the fact that it's made out of recycled materials, out of a durability standpoint, I think this would fail far before this one. And one thing I'm just noticing now, looking at them at this vantage point, is the smooth front. Yes, I like the smooth front better, but we also have Airback branding here, and we have this completely void of branding Zephyr Pro from Black Voyager. I like that. I don't mind branding. This isn't bad because it's black on black, so it blends really well. It's not big, it's not gaudy, but if I had a choice, I would always choose the plain front without the branding, because I personally don't really need my bag to yell and scream the branding, so I do prefer a smoother plain front without branding, even though this is, as far as branding goes, very nice and very minimal. Now, if we want to flip the bags over, we are going to see a major difference back here. I guess we should start there as well. So we have a nice fidlock buckle here. So that's a little magnetic buckle, which is easier to do if you're orientating correctly. So we have a magnetic buckle, so when the sternum strap, you just drop it, goes back on. When you want to take it off, you just grab the little handle, it pops open. Where again, we have this nylon, which feels good, are these rubber-coated nylon or plastic clips, which feel good in the hand, but it doesn't pop apart because both the male and female ends have this like rubber coat on it. It does have a whistle, so that's kind of a nice feature as well, but it doesn't pop open and work as easily. Now, if we want to peel back our shoulder straps, we can get a good look at our back panels. So we have two totally different orientations of our luggage pass-throughs. We have a vertical on the Black Voyager, and we have a horizontal on our Airback. Now, why does this matter? Well, if you have a carry-on size roller bag, it's going to be about the same width as your backpack. So if you have a horizontal luggage pass-through, it's going to slide and sit basically in that same space that your roller bag is. If you have that same carry-on and you take this bag, now you have to turn it sideways to go through your luggage pass-through, you're going to be a little bit wider. So you're going to have a smaller footprint with the Black Voyager than you would with the Airback, because if you want to look at it, I guess we should do it this way. The bag sticks out a lot more, and it's just going to make you a little bit wider going through the airport. Another thing that we can clearly see here is we actually have a zipper compartment across the back, which is the full back panel, so you can stick things in here. And then in addition to that little zipper garage that we saw there that keeps that from unzipping, it also gives us this whole other interior pocket across the back of the bag, so we actually can stick some more stealthy things down there. And then once that's all done, you cover that up. The zipper is not accessible, so you can't steal anything there. And then we do have a very small zipper here on the Airback, and that's going to, it doesn't even come all the way across. It comes maybe 2/3 the way across the bag. It's just enough space to fit your hand, so you could fit maybe a couple of passports in there. Yeah, I could say you could probably fit about 3 passports in there, and that would probably be about it, where the Black Voyager, you can really load this up. Now, the back panels are also significantly different, where the Airback just has what feels like a very thin, minimal foam that, let me see if I can get the camera down there. Sorry, I meant microphone, but you can hear that squish. That is loud. Now, if you get down to the only noise you're hearing is the actual materials of the backpack on the table. So this is going to be, it's got some good density. I think it's the same foam we use in our grab handles. But in addition to that, we can see the padding on our Black Voyager actually has these little holes. If you can see that through the mesh, there's actually little air holes, air vents. So we have an Airback mesh, and then in the actual padding, there's these little cutouts. So you actually will have airflow, where the Airback has, it feels okay against the skin. It's not bad, but have a much thinner mesh, and it's just a solid piece of low density foam. So there's not going to be nearly as much airflow, where we actually have all of these holes cut through. So these are going to be a lot more comfortable to wear on the bag, because we have all of this airflow, and it's very, it feels really good too. And again, it has a good squish density to it. You can't hear it. It doesn't feel like the foam's breaking down every time you squish into it. So we have quite a bit of nice both padding for comfort, and I think it's going to give you a lot of airflow. So when you're wearing this bag for a very long time, the Black Voyager Zephyr is going to be way more comfortable to wear, both for the padding and the airflow over the back padding of the Airback. And then on top of that, we do have, I should show this as well, we do have a cup holder, both of them. Oh, I'm sorry, a water bottle holder, both of them. It's expandable. It's got an elastic stretch to it, so you could fit a decent water bottle in both of these. I feel like they're probably about the same. The elastic on the Airback, it feels like it has more stretch to it, but it also doesn't feel as durable, so it feels like it's probably going to wear out a little bit quicker. But you could fit a standard water bottle in there. You're not going to fit like a 32-ounce Nalgene in either of these. And then I like the fact that we have a zipper, so if you're not using it, you can just zip it back up and it stays out of the way. And it's pretty snug against the side of the bag for both of them, so it's going to stay nice and out of the way. The one thing I am also, again, noticing now as I'm orientating these bags and playing with them is the TSA lock on the Airback is in the way of the water bottle holder. So you are probably going to now be a little bit more limited with the Airback, because they put the TSA lock directly above the water bottle pocket, where on the Black Voyager Zephyr, it's not there. So you have a clean, easy in and out for your water bottle, where now you have to contend with your TSA lock. So that was that's a pretty big fail. That's actually something very minute that could have easily been avoided. So the placement of that TSA lock on the Airback, that's pretty unfortunate right there. They really should have put that on the other side like the Black Voyager did. And then lastly here, we'll take a look at the underside of each of the shoulder straps. This side we have the Black Voyager, this side we have the Airback, and right here is one of the spaces where I say they're pretty similar. It has the same design, these little like domes, if you will, that kind of stick out with lots of grooves in between to give you good airflow. I would say the Black Voyager feels like the foam might be a little bit more dense, because they're probably using that same nice foam that they use both in the back pad and the handles, where the Airback, it feels like it might have a little bit more squish to it than the Black Voyager, but As far as the padding goes, and my test fits as well, they've both felt very similar on the shoulders and over the clavicle. So I think right here is probably the closest point thus far I found that these are pretty even in spec. All right, so we've talked about the features of each of these bags, how they're different, how they're the same. The one thing I know I've talked about, I don't know if I said fully, the capacities. The Black Voyager Zephyr is 30 to 65 liters, and the Airback original is 22 to 47 liters. So the Black Voyager can fit more, which having that nice padded grab handle is definitely going to be a benefit. Then the Airback, only holding up to 47 liters, still can be quite a bit of weight, so that Haplon strip of a grab handle, both briefcase mode and top carry, not going to really do you much good. But we haven't talked about the main point of each of these bags. They are vacuum sealed compressible travel bags, so we need to talk about that. Now I'm going to be packing up each of these bags with the same items as if I was taking a 7-day trip. Now please keep in mind, depending upon the destination, a few additional items may be added into the bag, such as flip-flops if I'm going to the beach or something like that. But all of the items I'm putting in here would be core items. Now, the things that I'm not going to be putting in the bag would be something like a pair of jeans that I would be wearing on the flight. Even if I've traveled in the summer, I usually wear a pair of jeans or pants on the flight, usually a long sleeve button-down shirt, a sweatshirt, and sometimes, depending upon the time of the year, I will also have a jacket on. All of those things would be on my person, and I would also wear those when I get to my destination, because airplanes and airports are usually cold, so I always wear pants and a sweatshirt, and I don't want to pack it, I want to have it on me. So please note that those items won't be in the bag because they would be on my person as if I was traveling. And then to start, we have my bag that has all of my chargers for watches, phones, things of that nature. And then my battery bank that also has additional cables for charging my phone on the go. My DOP kit, which also includes contacts and contact solutions. So if I were going someplace with the family, I can wear these to go swimming or to an amusement park. 7 pairs of socks assorted between tall and short socks. 7 pairs of underwear. 7 t-shirts, a mix of both merino wool and cotton tee. 2 additional short sleeve button down shirts, because you never know what you're going to do when you get to where you're going. Now, if this was business trip only, I'd have 1 pair of mesh shorts to sleep in and 1 pair of shorts to have when I get there. But if I was going with the family, I would also have a bathing suit and an extra pair of shorts to wear when I got to my destination. A thin rain shell that can be used if it's raining, if it's windy, anything like that. And then lastly, an extra pair of shoes when I got there. These might be swapped out for a pair of flip-flops if I was going someplace a little bit warmer. Now, these are all of the items that I would pack on a 7-day trip. So we're going to start with the Black Voyager Zephyr Pro with their Vortex vacuum sealed bag. You can see we have the vacuum bag open. We also have the bag extended so we can fit this fully, load this out with everything that we need in here. So we will start by packing. Now, one thing that's different with the Zephyr Pro is that the pump over here, it does not have a battery, which is nice because I'm always going to have a battery bank with me when I travel, charge my phone, charge my watch, gotta have that accessible. So not having a battery in the actual pump is nice because it makes it smaller. There's now not a battery that I need to charge or recharge, one less battery that TSA has to check. So the only thing that I will have as a personal issue is the fact that I have a iPhone 14 and it uses the lightning cable. So this uses USB-C, so you can power it from a phone or a battery bank, and it does have an included little keychain, if you will, that is, it pops off, is USB-C. So if your battery bank had USB-C, you could just use the shorter little cable. Mine's a little older one, but it is basically a beast. It's a little heavier, it's a little older, a little bigger, but it's a beast, it's indestructible, so I always use this. So I do have to use the included. It does come with a little carrying bag as well, but it comes with a longer orange, nicely braided USB-C cable. So what I will just do is simply take my USB-C cable. I will flip the bag over, knock something on the ground. I will plug that in. Then I will take my battery bank. I will pop it out of my bag. And then I could simply put my battery bank inside of the tech sleeve, plug it in, turn it on, Stick that in there. Plug in my pump. And see, it's working. And then just listen how quiet this thing is. Like, wow. 60 decibels, that's pretty quiet. Okay, so we pop it out, pop it loose, stick that in there. Make sure you have it seated properly. Turn it on. You can see we're sucking the air out. And once it's done, pop it loose, close that up. We can set this aside for now, and then we'll go ahead and take the rest of our stuff. Oh, wrong pet. I want to go down here. Put the rest of our things in the bag. Our DOP kit that we knocked down, stick that in here as well. Because we have a nice mesh pocket, we can actually cram that thing in there. Leave that plugged in so then we can utilize our battery bank. Zip that up. Take our compression straps. And there we have our bag. Zip those down as much as we need to. And there, we have 1 week's worth of travel clothing packed in here, and we still have space. I can still fit all of my tech in here as well, so we still have a ton of room. And the Zephyr Pro also comes with a hip belt that is easy to put on and take off. And the way we do that is we have these 2 little loops on either side, and we have these G-hooks on the hip belts. We pop them loose, and you just slide the G-hook through. Give it a little squish. It's easier to do if you're not doing it upside down. Do the other side. Slide it right through. Give it a little squeeze. And there we go, fully loaded out on my body. And it feels pretty good. These shoulder straps under load feel really nice. Those little bumps that are underneath that shoulder pad, that feel really, really good. And I don't feel bulky. I don't feel like I'm going to tip back. I feel pretty well weighted, and it's comfortable enough to wear. I don't feel stressed or fatigued. I feel as though I can wear this for a while. Walking through the airport, getting on my flight, walking from the airports to the hotel, and then unload most of this, compress it back down, and then I can use this as like a 30-liter day pack while I'm actually traveling. So I can use this to get to my destination, take all my clothes out, and then I can continue to use this while I'm actually at my destination. Again, I feel good. I feel well balanced. I don't feel like I'm being pulled back. I don't feel like I'm going to tip forward. I feel really well balanced. It's comfortable to wear. I'm liking these shoulder pads quite a bit. Those little bumps, they actually kind of feel good. Not like a massage, but they feel good on the shoulder. Like, I like the fact that I have these individual bumps because I know that's going to give me some good airflow in there. And the back pad feels really nice. It's sitting well against my back. I feel like it's contouring to me nicely. I don't feel like I'm straight up or down. I feel like it's flexing to me, even though it's pretty well loaded out right now. I have, again, 1 week's worth of clothing in here. This is everything that I would take if I was going away for a week, and I would probably just switch out the sneakers for like a pair of sandals if I was going like to the beach, or if we're going to someplace like Disney, I might bring a pair of what I call my adventure sandals. I have like Teva sandals, so I can wear those all day at the park because they give you some good. I have a pair of hiking Tevas, so they give you really good support, but without having to wear a full shoe all day long. That would probably be the only thing that I would really switch out, would be the extra pair of shoes that I would bring. But it feels good on the back, and I like the Fidlock sternum strap. I can pop that loose. I can pop loose my waist belt, then pop it off, and then I have my nicely padded handle, which it feels good. It feels really good across the palm of the hand. The only thing I might consider doing, feels good in briefcase mode as well, but the only thing I would maybe consider doing would be making these just a little wider. It's about 1 inch. It's got some good padding to it, but I like it when it's maybe 1.5 inches. 2 inches wide, but because it has that good padding on it, it feels good in the hand. I don't feel like it's going to be an issue, but I feel like a little bit wider strap does help to distribute that weight across the palm, but I don't feel like it's cutting into me or digging into me because we do have some pretty good padding there. But the only thing I'm noticing, that's really the one change I would make. I like the layout of this bag a lot. I love the fact that we have those 3 pockets plus the shoe garage or extra storage front in the front pocket inside this bag, as opposed to the Airback that only has 1 pocket on the inside and it feels very rubbery, plasticky. I don't like that at all. But yeah, so far very pleased with this, and I still have room. I don't have my tech in here, but I could easily, there is tons of room here. I can fit my tablet and my laptop. I'd probably bring one or the other depending upon if I'm traveling for work. I'd probably bring my laptop. If I'm traveling for personal use with the family, I'd probably bring my tablet just so me or my daughter have something to watch on the plane, or if we're in the car, I can give her my tablet and say, here you go, watch one of your shows. I download a bunch of content to the tablet so she can just watch it and zone out and doesn't get bored in those long flights or long car rides. But now, let's do the same thing to the Airback. Okay, Airback ready to go. Once again, you can see we have it already unzipped, expanded, and we have our Airback vacuum system. So let's just start packing it up. And taking note, we do have our zipper all the way closed. Now we have our pump for our Airback, which does have a battery in it, so it is considerably bigger. Another thing I noticed too is this is considerably louder. I believe the decibel rating of this is 85, so it's 15 decibels louder on paper, but by ear it sounds significantly louder than that. So way louder than the Black Voyager pump. Okay, so let's go ahead and give her a test. We'll seat that properly and close that up. Now we did notice that vacuumed much faster because this is a bigger pump and it does have an onboard battery. I guess it did pump quite a bit faster, but wow, was that so much louder. But now the trade-off we also have is we don't have all that organization for the rest of our stuff to put into the bag. So we are going to have to figure this one out. So we have our only front pocket that definitely doesn't have nearly as much space. So let's see if we can fit, okay, my chargers and whatnot in there. Then we have our shoe garage area, which I can fit my shoes in there, but they don't even fit as well either. Okay. So far, at least they're going in. Caught on that piping again. We're gonna have to stick this in here. I don't know where we're gonna stick it. We're just gonna have to stick it someplace. I guess we'll close the lid. Caught on the piping over here because now I can't zipper the bag. There we go. Caught on the piping again. I'll go ahead and I'll put the pump into... Now that's the other thing I just realized too, because we have a battery on board, if I put the pump in here, it could potentially turn on inside the bag, and then we have that noise happening while it's packed away inside our bag, which is not something I would personally want happening while I'm traveling through TSA. And then because we had our battery bank inside our tech compartment before, we'll go ahead and stick that back in there, zipper that up, and we're going to see if we can compress this because we don't have as much organization. Let's see. Okay, so we completely close the bag. We are compressing, so we're not as bulky as I thought we were going to be. Okay, so we did completely compress the bag. Even though I like the feel of these, they're also harder to put back in, so they have a nice feeling to them in the hand, but functionality, they're not functioning as good as the snaps on the Zephyr. So again, feel good in the hand, but they're not functioning nearly as good as the Zephyr straps. Now there we go, we are all strapped in. Noticeably, we have the lack of a hip belt, which I'm on the fence about. I don't personally use them quite a bit, but this is getting to that like border where I would potentially want to have the hip belt again, probably more so for my return trip because I'd have a little bit more in my bag. But we do have our sternum strap and we are completely packed out. And I will say, while I still feel balanced, I don't feel as though I'm going to be tipping backward or forward. The bag noticeably feels snugger. It's tighter because it has a smaller capacity. Now, I was fully able to fit everything inside this bag that I fit inside the Zephyr, but it just feels tighter. I was able to compress it. I still have a little bit extra space, but I was also not able to completely organize that space because we only have that one internal pocket instead of the three, so everything's kind of just jumbled in there. I was a little bit leery I wasn't going to be able to fully zipper close the compression section of the bag because this is only 47 liters as opposed to the 65, but it closed, and I do have a little bit more space, but I would actually be a little hesitant to put all of my tech inside this. I would definitely only take either a laptop or a tablet because I can feel it like across my back. It just feels tighter. It feels tighter in my shoulders. Now the load also, it feels good. Again, that point where I thought they were pretty even was with these air mesh. It does feel like these are squishing a little bit more than the ones on the Black Voyager, but they feel pretty good. I don't feel stressed or fatigued. They're laying over the clavicle fine. So the shoulder pads, at least at this point, brand new, they're still feeling really good, and I like the fact that we have all of these little like domes, so we're gonna have some good airflow underneath. But yeah, I think I'm borderline where I would want to have a hip belt if I put any more weight in this bag. Right now it feels okay without the hip belt, but coming home from that trip, I might feel a little bit more comfortable with that hip belt, taking a little bit more of that weight off my shoulders and my back. But it does feel significantly tighter than it felt with than the Black Voyager felt, just because it is a little bit smaller capacity. But let's see, the sternum strap, where is it? Let's see how well it pops one-handed. Okay, so it did pop one-handed nicely, but I felt a little like lag. It did stick a little bit because it has this rubber coating. It feels good in the hand, but it's just not helping the functionality. Now if we take the bag off, I mean, it doesn't feel awful. I've had worse, but this bag does have a fair amount of weight to it, and I can kind of feel it on the back side, back on the by palm. I can feel it digging in a little bit there without it being padded, you know. Yeah, and then I could feel it digging into the front of my fingers as I grip it. I could feel the edge of that hap-on strap digging in, so carrying it just relaxed how I would. I can certainly feel the edge of this digging into my fingers. Yeah, I can feel the edge digging into the palm of my hand on the back side, carrying it backpack mode. In briefcase mode, I can feel it digging in as my fingers wrap around it. I can feel this edge digging into my fingers. So if they're not going to pad it, which I think they should, they definitely need to make this grab handle, both the backpack and briefcase style, like 1.5 inches wide. It needs to distribute that weight a little bit more evenly. It does not feel great in the hand. It doesn't feel terrible, but it doesn't feel great in the hand. So either pad it. I would prefer pad it and make it wider, because that is the one thing I'm noticing I would change on the Black Voyager the Black Voyagers. I would make, even though it's padded, it feels good, I would make that strap a little bit wider, but this just isn't going to fly, period. It's just not that comfortable at all. I just don't like the way it's holding in my hand. But backpack mode, it seems to be feeling pretty good again. The straps, I like these dome straps. They're about even here. I think the Black Voyager is a little bit more squishy, a little denser, but they still have a good squish to it. But I think they still feel pretty similar on the shoulder. They're pretty comfortable. They're holding the load well. They're not digging in. I don't feel it like rubbing anything like in a bad spot. The shoulder straps on both of them feel pretty comfortable. Now, the one thing that one of the things, oh, that's another thing I'm noticing. I'm trying to pop it, and my thumb is getting caught on the whistle, which I've had plenty of backpacks with the whistle, but I don't know, maybe because it's this rubber grippy, like my hand's not sliding over and I'm trying to press that whistle in. So we can pop that back off. We do only have that singular front pocket that's right up about here, which is nice because at least we have it, but the placement of it isn't ideal because it is pretty much equal with our admin. So while we do need a little bit more bulk down here for our shoe garage, or our incidental garage, if you will, it should be maybe spaced a little bit lower. because it feels like they're going to be fighting for space. And I did have to throw my DOP kit just in the main body because there was no other pocket, which is fine. I mean, it doesn't matter. It's just a DOP kit. It's going to come out of the bag whenever I get to where I'm going, but being able to zipper it in would be nice, because then if I do have to dig through this bag in an airport, if I have a long layover, it's one less thing that's just going to be flopping around in there as I'm walking around. But overall, it's functioning okay. I would say there are quite a few changes you can make to the to the Airback to make it function much better. So far, really, I'm only noticing the one change, the Black Voyager. But let's go back to those pumps for a second. The Airback, it's way bigger. It's just a pump with a battery, a big square. Now, the Black Voyager, it comes in a little carrying case. It's considerably smaller in size. And it does also come with 2 cables so you can run it. So it comes with a little carrying bag, a pretty long orange, nicely braided, feels good USB-C cable. But there's the size comparison. Way, way smaller for the Black Voyager. Now, yes, the Airback did pump way faster, did suck the air out of that really, really quickly, which I did really like. But the trade-off for the fact that it's this much bigger, how much louder it is, and the fact that this sound can come on in your bag because the battery is internal in here, that's a very big drawback. Now, the benefit that it sucks much faster is nice, but because it's so much louder and it might come on, that sucks. Now, this cable is super, super long. So we have this really long, nicely braided USB-C cable. So while this doesn't have an internal battery, it means it's one less battery that you have to carry. It's much smaller, but you can run this from most smartphones. Most current phones will use a USB-C to charge it. Again, I can't because I have an iPhone 14, which still uses the lightning cable, so I can't charge it that way. But I'm always going to have my battery bank, so I got my battery bank in the bag. I can simply plug this in over here. I can see, you can see what I'm doing here. I can plug this in. And yes, I left it out so I can turn the battery bank on, because I do have to turn it on. It does go dormant if it's not used, but I can plug that into my battery bank. I have plenty of cable. I plug it in, because I will say the cable, this one, the keychain cable, while it is nice, it is convenient, it's a little too short to run from that power supply to the bag, so I had to use the longer one. If you were using this from your cell phone, or you had a battery bank that had a USB-C out, you could just use the shorter cable. You don't need to use the long one. But, oh, sorry, it went dormant again because I didn't use it quick enough. But this, like, I'm looking at the VU meters. It is right next to my microphone, and it is not peaking. Where this, I'm still a couple inches from my face, and it's peaking, but you can, so much louder. I prefer this. Even though it sucks a little bit slower, I think this is the better option because it's smaller. It's not going to be nearly as loud. And most of all, it doesn't have the potential to turn on while it's in my bag because it's going through the scanner. They bump this thing on the roller belt. This turns on now. You're definitely getting your bag searched because it's making noise. So it's not like you can even pop the batteries out of this. It's always just going to have the potential to turn on in your bag. And that would suck going through security and this thing just turned on, where this does not have the option. You just unplug it. Now there's absolutely no way it can turn on. And it has this adapter here, so it would work on any other bag. The Black Voyager, you take it off and it will slide inside it, but the Airback has a larger lip, so you would just use the included rubber grommet, pop that on, and then you can also make your seal. So yes, it does pump a little bit slower, but that is a very valid trade-off for all of the negatives of the pump from the Airback. And on top of all of this, all said and done, This is a more expensive bag. The Airback, I think, is what do I have written down at the time of filming. It's $280 for the Airback. And this version, this setup of the Zephyr Pro is $260. So you're getting, in my opinion, a much better bag. I think the materials are better. I much prefer a Cordura over a recycled nylon. I do love recycled materials. Don't get me wrong. I love recycled materials. I love the fact that you can take something that was being wasted, turn it into something else. But as far as a backpack goes, my main body of the bag, I would much prefer, especially something travel that is going to see a lot of wear and tear. I think that the external materials, the 1680 ballistic Cordura nylon, is much better than the 900D recycled nylon. It feels better to the touch as well. I think both would function well long term, and not like, I mean, as far as like durability, not fall apart, but I personally would prefer the Cordura. It's just my preferred. I like the organization of the Black Voyager Zephyr so much more, the 3 pockets in the front and the shoe garage, as opposed to a singular pocket in the front with a still shoe garage with a smaller opening, and it feels that plasticky, rubbery feel. I don't like that. You have a nice stretch mesh. You can really fit a lot of stuff in here. We have a larger capacity, 30 to 65 liters. Yes, this is 22 to 47. So when you shrink it down for city use, it does come in a little bit smaller, but at least for me, that's a personal preference, but I like a little bit larger EDC bag. 22 is like the low end of what I like to EDC. I prefer something around 25, 26, upwards of 30 liters. So for me, as like using in my destination once I get there, the Zephyr Pro is definitely going to be where I want to be, in that close to that 30 liter range when it's compressed all down. I like the orange, the high-vis orange is much better. Also, the materials feel a little bit nicer in both the mesh and for the tech pocket in the back. I like the way that the mesh, they feel pretty similar, but I think the orange feels a little bit nicer the more I've handled the bags. The YKK AquaGuard zippers, not only are they a name brand zipper, but they are functioning perfectly on something like this that I'm going to use for travel, one bag travel. I have all of the stuff that I have with me in this bag. I want to keep it as watertight as possible, so using the YKK AquaGuard zippers is really going to help to weatherproof that bag. I think you're getting a fair amount in either of these bags, but the comfortability is much better in the Zephyr. I like the back panel. You also have more organization in that back panel, which I completely forgot about. You have the larger, completely back zipper panel. You have that hidden pocket. You also have the waist strap. I think all in all, yeah, the Black Voyager Zephyr is the way to go. It's cheaper in price, and it has so many more features to it. The layout, the organization, it's just a better bag. And this is going to be a pleasure to use. This is going to get a lot of use because I'm definitely going to lean towards it. I'm choosing, if I had to pick one out of the other, it's going to be the Black Voyager. I like it. I like everything about it. There's some nice features. The only place that I would say they're pretty equal would be the padding on the shoulder straps. But yeah, for the things that I like about the Airback, I like the things about the Black Voyager that much more. The only thing that I prefer in the Airback is the speed at which the pump suck the air out, but it's so much louder and it just has that fail potential, really. I think turning on in transit is a fail. And the feel of the clips, but they don't function as well because they kind of get hung up. Like you have to use two hands. You can't single hand pop these things because they have that nice rubbery feel to them. They just grip each other and they don't function as well. So they feel good in the hand, but they don't function like the just smooth plastic strap clips on the Black Voyager Zephyr. So if I'm going to choose one or the other all day long, the Black Voyager Zephyr. It's just a better bag, better features, better quality, better feel, better organization. All in all, it's just a better bag, and the pump being so much quieter and being so much more compact and does not have the potential to turn on in transit, even though it's a little bit slower, it's just a win all day long. If you're looking at one, gonna go ahead and say buy the Black Voyager Zephyr Pro. It's the better bag, hands down. So I hope this video helped you out in your buying decision just a little bit. So don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe. Smash that big red button and ring that bell right next to it so you get notifications the next time I post a brand new video. Good night.